Turn your messaging into magic. This week is all about the Whomp Whomp because doors to Whomp Whomp's August cohort. So the thing is I hate the, this is the last chance to do it. Instead, what I'm doing is last call to join because I'm not going to be doing a further push. You can join Whomp Whomp to WoW for the August cohort anytime between now and Monday, which is when it starts. However, this is the last time I'm putting that call out there. So it is really the last call for Whomp Whomp, but it is not your last chance. Because, that's kind of the disingenuous, like, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum.
What? You're not sending the email at 11:59 on Sunday night?
No. It's too much stress for me. And by the way, Joanna May, you've seen her very recently on Turning Messaging into Magic. She is a good friend of mine. We can talk for hours. We were talking in the pre-show before we realized that, 12, 15 minutes of our 30-minute time had gone by. So you are an amazing email marketing strategist, but also a course success strategist. And so the reason for all of you who are watching live or watching after the fact that I've invited Joanna today is because she just went through Whomp Whomp, but she also used her process to help me improve it. So I want to know more about what your experience is with it, for one, and what it's allowing you to do, because you just finished, so you don't have 6 months of talk about. But it does give you, within the last few weeks, you can talk about. I'd love for you to speak to how it's changed mindset wise, what it gives you the confidence to go out and do.
Okay. So yeah. So as Erin said, I just finished Whomp Whomp, seriously, last Wednesday, I think I finished my services page.
Tuesday. And we talked through it last Friday.
Yes, yeah. We did. We went, yes, I finished it first and then we went through it and she helped me fix it. It's taken me a lot longer than the 20, well, it was 21 days and now it's 28 days. And we'll talk about that in a second.
It's also been summer and there's other stuff going on.
Yes, there's other stuff. I've got children, we've all, people, vacations, all the things. And so, yeah, so this is I've had the website for a year and a half. And because I have 2 businesses, it's a whole thing anyway. But yeah, so I've had the website for a year and a half and it was up there. It was okay, but Whomp Whomp really helped me. Well, first, it helped me focus in on what I needed to put in there so it made sense as for what I do, and so that it fit with best practices for websites, and so that it was easy for me to do, because I am definitely a DIYer, and I fully support that, but I am not a web copy person. I don't really love it. I don't hire me to write your web copy because I wouldn't do that. So I needed help. And so with Whomp Whomp, Erin provides the structure that is needed to get it done well, and get it done fast if you apply yourself. So
right, you still have to do the work, right? It's not like my time this thing and you wave a magic wand and bada boom, right?
She is not, she is not, she's not beating me with a whip or anything. And, I might have gotten it done if she hadn't been doing that, but, we live far apart and that would be weird. So, yeah.
This is why we're friends, by the way.
So my favorite part is the not a wireframes that she includes for each of the pages. She helps you, her process and her course helps you work through what needs to be included, how to fully express yourself. And then the not a wireframe makes it easy to put it in so that it actually makes sense on the page. And then like I said in the webinar, it took me an hour to take my stuff and build a web page. And I mean, this was not, I am a huge fan of Elementor. We've talked about this too. Erin is as well. So it's not like I was really using a theme that I just had to plug in. It was, I mean, there was some structure, but I built a page basically. And
3 of them, I think.
yes, I have built 3 of them. Yes.
So
My website has more pages than that. You know, I have blog content and stuff like that. But yeah, it really helped to make it for the 3 pages that I am least interested in writing. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie.
And I think the other thing is everyone who has worked with a designer, by the way, these are the same. I don't necessarily use templates with my writing, but these are the same frameworks that I use when I'm writing client copy. And what makes it really easy is you can take it to a designer and they will look at it and they will say, oh, easy, done.
Yeah.
So even if you don't have technical know-how, even if you're not going to be Joanna and design your whole site, it makes it easy. Anyway, just to add that interjection.
Yeah. And I mean, it really does. It made it so easy. You know, the time commitment for Whomp Whomp is not overwhelming. You know, you can get it done in 28 days. And you don't have to spend like 28 days on it, you know.
No, it's designed to be done in like a day a week.
Yeah.
Or if you want to break it up, like watch the videos for an hour, spend 2 to 3 hours doing the stuff, and then bring it to our call at the end of the week.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, and I love the calls. You know, I like to talk. Erin and I have fun when we talk. So sometimes other people join us and then it's even more fun. So, but yeah, so it really is the live calls super helpful. Even seeing other people's work and how they interpret it helped me grow a lot in helping me figure things out, because I see it and I'm like, oh, because, you know, I saw a lot of calls that I didn't necessarily have anything for, but I'm like, oh, I really like that idea, or I love how that happened, you know? And so I could use that information too, to help me even further to really, you know, and just talking through things that, you know, I love the live component. So,
well, and I think there's a mindset component too. It's like, can I really claim this? And it's like, is that what you want to be known for? And actually, that was my email that went out today, was like, you have to take yourself seriously for other people to take you seriously.
And I saw the headline, haven't read it yet, or the subject line.
I mean, I really liked it. It was like, can I send this to my whole list? And I was like, no, I can't send it to people who have opted out of Whomp Whomp emails at this point.
Yes.
But there may be another version of that coming soon.
Repurposing.
Because it's really true. And there's so much of that. It's like, if people don't know what you're doing, then why would they hire you to do what you want to be doing?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of, that's like a common theme that's come up over the last year that I've been doing this, is like, oh, I don't really want to say that I'm an expert. It's like, you don't have to say that you're an expert if you're not one, but you do have to show what you want to become, because no one else will look at your site. Like if you say, oh, I'm a VA, I do tech work, I am an accountant. No one's going to say, I'm going to hire this person to write my copy. 100%. So you have to claim it. You have to say what this is. So I think part of it's getting the confidence to claim that. But something, I'm not sure if it was Caitlin or Grace that said it this week. They said, you know, when I'm putting it out there and now I have a site that I'm proud of, I'm actually sending it to other people. It's like, hey, you want to know more about me? Go here. Instead of just being like, oh, I do this, and then there's nothing to back it up. Right?
Yeah.
So it lends that legitimacy and that confidence. But so what have you been able to do? Obviously, like we're fairly new into your website. But what do you feel like it's going to let you do?
So it's actually really helped me a lot figuring out what type of content I want to focus on, and like, oh, these are things here, and oh, this would be a great, you know, cross link or whatever, so that I can go back and stick them in when I come up, you know, when I write a new blog post that fits with it or whatever, and then I can cross link. You know, I can figure out, oh, I need to work on, this is something I really do need to work on. I need to work on getting testimonials so that I can fill out the page more, because I have people, very happy clients, and, but I don't necessarily have testimonials from my very happy clients.
Well, and let them say Joanna is like the best thing since sliced bread. That way you're not the one saying it.
Yes.
Like, that's the other thing. So incidentally, have you done the content trees training yet?
No, I have not.
Speaking of getting clear about what you want to focus on,
Yes.
that would be a good
Okay.
next piece, because that's included as a bonus. So
Yeah. So, because I mean, honestly, I know in theory what I want to write about, but kind of coming up with those ideas of things. What do I actually say about this?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. So, well, I'm excited to see how this develops. And I think what's really cool is that you've said it just gives you a plan for like what's next.
yeah.
And we've talked about that launch plan too,
Yes.
and Grace said that was one of the most helpful pieces, like other than actually writing her own copy and getting it out there, like using it effectively. So you have this roadmap for like, cool, you've got a website. How do you get people there?
Yes.
How do people know about it? And using it as a tool to build buzz. But so when you came in, I think with all things, courses, services, everything is this, it can be done and ready, but there's always room for improvement. So there's some constant iteration that goes into this, based on feedback. So a big part of what you do, I'm paraphrasing terribly, is you, based on like 2 decades of instructional design experience, you come in and you're like, okay, why aren't people finishing at certain points? And people have a pretty reasonably good finish rate for Whomp Whomp. It's usually about 30 to 50%,
Which is
in
crazy
the
high
industry is
compared to the
high.
average of 11 to 15%. So
So
yeah.
I feel pretty good about that, but there's always room to make it better.
Yeah.
There's always room, particularly as a solopreneur who is doing it all. And so you come in and you identify like what some drop-off points are, what the experience is like from your perspective. You look at the data, and then
Yes.
you're like, here are some opportunities to improve it. So I know what we're doing together is still ongoing.
Yes.
We're not quite done yet, but based on early feedback, we've made some significant changes. Do you want to talk about a little bit about
Sure.
what that process looks like?
So as Erin said, what I do is I go into the course and I look at it and see, I look at it. I look at the timing of it. I look at all of the objectives and what the goals are and make sure the objectives match with what it's talking about. I look at the order that things go in. And so these are all things that, and like how you present the delivery, like how things are presented. So these are all things that, with a background in education and a degree in education, I know how to teach. That's one of my strengths, obviously. And so, content knowledge is essential. I fully support people who are experts producing content that teaches people and like producing courses that teach people, but they're not necessarily experts at teaching. And so I like to use that information to just kind of tighten things up. I call it tweaking. I'm not changing your course. I'm just making recommendations. And so, so I compile a report with recommendations of how we can tighten it up and just kind of get people to the finish line. And we want to get them to the finish line because that's how your bottom line can grow. If people finish the course, then they'll tell people about it.
And tell people about it.
Yeah.
And in this case, I love your website. Thanks. I did it through this course
right.
taught by Erin, and it's really, really awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
And people that finish it love it, right? Like everyone who has been through it, even people that haven't finished it, a big chunk of them haven't finished it because life has happened.
Yes.
Like there's a couple of people who, I'm not going to get into personal stories, but there is other stuff that is like life altering. So why, you're not the person who's going to force anyone into anything. Someone says they can't hear anything.
That's weird.
Yeah. It's on Facebook. I wonder if it's like, you may have to click the, on Facebook, you have to click the little speaker button in the lower right-hand corner.
That's very odd.
That may be it.
I'll feel really bad.
But if we can hear each other, I think everyone else should be able to hear us too.
Yeah. Huh.
So anyway, one of the things that you told me, like the very first thing is you were going through what was the introductory module? It was M0. You were like, this is really awesome.
Yes.
This should not be like,
Not
I feel like
M0.
it's an afterthought, but it shouldn't be like, oh, this is the basics, da 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 da, get started.
Yeah.
She's like, you were like, this should be a big deal because it is a big deal. It's important.
It is a big deal, and I don't want people to miss it. And if people are like, oh, this is M0, I don't think I need to do it, right? And so they miss out on a lot. And then there was also some timing issues. It just felt because then it was like the emails were saying, okay, we're ready to get started. And I'm like, wait, I'm not done. I'm not done with that module 0.
But part of it, that's what makes it hard with, is it evergreen? Is it
right
self-paced?
Yeah.
So with that said, what I've done is I've converted it to step 1.
Yes.
And so instead of being a 21 day, which I really think it is still doable in 3 weeks if someone is super
motivated and
but we're turning it into a 28-day course because you really have to take time to onboard yourself as a client. You really have to take the time to get insanely clear on what you're doing, who you're doing it for, why it matters, because it's like step 1, we're not talking about modules anymore. We're talking about steps. So step 1 is really all about figuring out what that is and extracting it from your head with a couple of different ways so that you're in a right mindset to do it. And then step 2 is now the homepage. Step 3 is about. Step 4 is services. And so you can, I think the other thing that I want to reiterate more and more to people is you don't have to be completely done, perfectly done with any one phase to move on to the next. You need to have gone through and at least have like a draft. And it can have all kinds of holes because it's kind of an iterative process in and of itself, because it's like, oh, I like this. Yeah. Oh, I want to go back and put that into home. Or, oh, I like this in about, I'm in services. Let's, and there's a lot of mixing and matching that can go on after the fact. And in fact, a gal who went through the course in December, in April, hired me. And she said, I have been through it. I've been through all the modules. I can't get out of my own head because there's all this stuff I love. I can't figure out where it needs to go. And so she's like, all I've done is the homepage. And I started looking at it, and it's like, you have everything for your entire site in this one document. There is like 4 holes. She's like, will you just do it for me? So I gave her a really good deal because she'd been through it. I didn't have to think through anything. This was not like an intense website copy project. This was let's just move some stuff around. And I was able to do it in about 3 hours to basically build out her entire site because she'd done all the hard work. And so there are options out there. It's not like you're not alone.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, I just think that a lot of it was just clarity. You really, all of the different steps you go through are very helpful in creating, the clarity that you need for each page. In theory, I knew what went on each page. I mean, I knew the purpose of each page.
You're on hundreds of websites. You know why you go to each one.
Yeah, but I just hadn't done it. And or I hadn't done it as well as I wanted to, or it didn't feel like me. I had written a really good, really boring about page. I think it had the things that it needed to have on it. And I mean, it was very thorough, and it was kind of sappy, and that is not me at all. There was a line about what was it? It was something about how whether I'm helping young children learn how to write or helping entrepreneurs find their voice, I call that, or when I'm able to, I call that a victory or something like that.
That doesn't sound like anything like what you'd say. No.
I know. I know, right? But there's nothing wrong in theory with it. It just sounds like a much nicer person than I actually am. So
I disagree there, but it still doesn't sound like something that you would say out loud. So I think part of it is figuring that out. And then there's some things that we all do that we fall into the trap of, this is enough, this is it. And it's like, it's good, I'm done. And then it's like having someone else look at it and say, so, I think this is great.
Yeah.
But what if?
Yeah.
What if you tried this? And then that's when it gets to be really fun. Because I'm like, oh, go here. Da, 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 da.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, like that's what we talked about, and just kind of tweaking things and finding where to put the right, like some of it was like Erin is like, hey, why don't you switch your headline and your subhead? And it made sense and it was more powerful.
There's a lot of things that happen like that. And it's like, because as you write, you create these really cool little nuggets and you don't always go back through or think about it critically after the fact.
Right.
And not through anyone's fault, right? Like you just don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a comment, but yeah. So I think it's just fun to explore. But so sorry. Yeah, you bury these little nuggets in, and then it's like you need someone to come back and be like, no, this is important. It needs to go up.
Yeah. And I mean, and I couldn't see that. I mean, like in my head.
Right. So cool. Well, I want to tell you thank you again for joining me. We are just about out of time here.
Yes.
And I very much appreciate you coming on. I'm glad that you're here, first of all, in general, but thank you for sharing your experience.
I'm glad you're here too.
And I'm incredibly excited to see how things go as you move forward. Please check back in with me and see what you've been able to do. But if anyone is watching again live or afterwards and you are ready to start with the August cohort, drop me a line. I can get you the link to join. If you want to hop on the waiting list for future cohorts because it's not the time now, let me know. I'll get you that link as well. And if you're interested in talking to Joanna about how she works with course creators, like Grace was on yesterday. Grace is amazing at the course strategy and coming up with the stuff up front and helping you build it out. And Joanna's the person that you call in after you've been through it a few times.
Yes,
and have some real user data.
That is, yeah. And I mean, honestly, I really recommend Whomp Whomp, and not just because Erin's awesome, but because it really was so helpful in defining, even defining who I am, what I do, and just helping me get it on the page in an organized way.
Well, thank you. And thank you again. I'm going to hit end and then we can continue the conversation offline.
Okay.